I matched with him on a Wednesday night, scrolling through Tinder with a glass of wine in one hand and a vague hope for something new clutched in the other. His name was Colin. Handsome in a rugged, mysterious way, sea green eyes, a slight smirk like he knew something I didn't. His bio was short and direct. Looking for good conversation and bad movies. Bonus points if you love sushi. I messaged him first. We clicked easily. He was charming, funny, and asked all the right questions. We messaged nonstop for 2 days before he suggested coming over for dinner Friday night. My place. Casual. Only if you bring the sushi, I joked. Done, he replied. Hope you like tuna. Friday came faster than expected. I cleaned the apartment top to bottom, lit a few candles, and put on a playlist that said, I'm cool but not trying too hard. I wore my favorite jeans and a soft sweater that brought out my eyes. At 7:05 p.m., there was a knock at the door. I took a breath and opened it. Only it wasn't Colin. It was Nathan, my ex. My chest seized. Nate? I whispered, stepping back. He smiled, holding up a plastic bag with sushi containers. Surprised? What the hell are you doing here? I brought dinner, just like we talked about. My eyes darted past him, looking for the man I thought I'd invited over. No one else was in the hallway. Where's Colin? He leaned against the doorframe. There is no Colin. That was me, Izzy. The whole time I made the profile. My mouth went dry. I stepped further back into the apartment. You catfished me? I had to, he said, stepping inside and shutting the door behind him. You wouldn't answer my calls. You blocked me. What choice did I have? I stared at him, stunned. His face was calm, but his eyes were wild. I felt sick. I dated Nathan for almost a year before I finally ended things. He was possessive, obsessive. He'd shown up at my work once, demanding to see who I was texting. He followed me home another time when I didn't respond quickly enough. That was the final straw. I cut him off. I want you to leave, I said, my voice shaking. Izzy, come on, he said, placing the sushi on the table like we were about to have a romantic dinner. Don't be dramatic. I just wanted to talk. You said you missed the way we used to laugh, remember? I never said that. Well, I thought you meant it. I backed toward the kitchen slowly, my phone in my pocket, hands trembling. He walked toward me. I miss you, he said. I think about you every day. I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I love you. That's not a crime. You're scaring me, I said. You need to leave. You're not scared, he said. You're just overwhelmed. I get it. You were tricked, but it was for a good reason. You lied to me. I had to. You weren't listening. He was too close now. I could smell his cologne, familiar and sour. My brain raced. If I tried to run, he'd grab me. I had to play it differently. You know, I said slowly, maybe you're right. He blinked. What? Maybe we do need to talk, but not here. His eyes lit up with that old dangerous glint. You mean that? I nodded, forced a small smile. Let's go back to your place, just you and me, no distractions. His grin widened. God, Izzy, I knew you'd understand. I knew you'd come around. Yeah, I said, let me just grab my bag. He let me pass him. I walked calmly into my bedroom, heart pounding. I pulled out my phone and opened my messages. I had one person I could trust, Mia. I typed quickly. Going to Nathan's place. He catfished me as Colin. Call the cops. Have them meet us there. Discreetly. Please hurry. I pinned the location he'd taken me to once before. A weird rundown duplex on the east side of town. She saw it. Typing. Then, I've got you. Be safe. I'm calling them now. I shoved the phone in my purse and walked back out, masking every ounce of fear. Nathan opened the car door for me like a gentleman. I'm so happy, Izzy. You'll see. Things can be better. You'll see. I nodded and smiled like a puppet. I believe you. The ride was mostly silent. I stared out the window, counting seconds, praying the police would make it before we arrived. I watched the streets shift from busy to barren, the houses becoming fewer, older. My grip tightened around the strap of my purse. You're quiet? He said. Everything okay? Just nervous, I said. He reached over and touched my knee. Don't be. You'll never have to be scared again. I wanted to scream. Finally, we pulled into the gravel driveway of his place. The porch light was off. The house looked exactly like I remembered, isolated, surrounded by tall, swaying trees. A perfect hiding place. He got out and came around to open my door, and that's when I saw it. Two shadows stepped from the trees. Uniforms, flashlights. Nathan saw them too. His smile dropped. What the hell? Police, one of them shouted. Hands where we can see them. Nathan spun toward me, eyes wide with betrayal. You called them? I backed away. I had to. He lunged toward me, but the officers were faster. They tackled him to the ground, wrestling his arms behind his back as he screamed. You lied to me, he shouted. We were going to fix it, Izzy. I loved you. I stepped away, tears streaming down my face, my body shaking. One officer came over to me. You okay, ma'am? I nodded numbly. I think so. They loaded Nathan into the back of the cruiser. He didn't stop staring at me through the window. Even with his hands cuffed, he looked smug, like he still had some power over me. But he didn't. Not anymore. That night I went to Mia's. I didn't sleep. Every noise felt like it might be him again. Every vibration of my phone sent chills down my spine. But the truth was, I was lucky, because the next girl might not play along, might not think fast enough, might not have a friend who answers texts at midnight. The next girl might never come back from that sushi date, and that thought haunts me more than Nathan ever could. I matched with him on a slow Wednesday evening, half watching a rerun of some crime documentary while swiping aimlessly through Tinder. His name was Michael. Tall, sharp jawline, tousled brown hair, eyes that had this warm, sincere look. His photos were casual, a little artsy even, one with a dog, one at a lake, one reading a book, shirtless but not obnoxiously so. It gave the impression that he was attractive but didn't care too much that he was. I liked that. His messages were normal, funny, polite, not too pushy, which was rare. We talked for a few days before he suggested meeting up. Coffee, nothing intense. I agreed. We picked a little cafe downtown, public, safe, neutral ground. But the second I saw him, I knew something was wrong. He was sitting at a table outside, waving when he spotted me. My stomach dropped. The man I'd matched with, the one from the profile, was not the man in front of me. This guy was shorter, maybe by 4 inches. Thinner, but not in a healthy way. Greasy hair, pockmarked skin, and his smile had this twitch to it, like it wasn't built to stay in place for long. Emma, right? He said, standing and pulling out a chair for me. I hesitated, then nodded. Yeah. I should have walked away, but twisted combination of politeness and curiosity kept me in that seat. I figured one coffee, one awkward hour, and I'd be done with it. He talked a lot, mostly about himself. His job in IT, his love of old horror movies, his strange obsession with learning to pick locks just for fun. He asked barely anything about me, which was honestly a relief. The less he knew, the better. When it was over, I made some excuse about needing to meet a friend. He asked if I wanted to hang out again. I smiled tightly and said I'd let him know. I didn't. I went home, blocked his number, unmatched him on the app, and thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The first text came 3 days later, from an unknown number. Hey, sorry if I came off weird. I really liked our talk. I deleted it without responding. 2 hours later, I think we really connected. Maybe give me another chance? Blocked that number too. Then came the calls. I never answered, just sent them to voicemail. The ones that left messages were always silent. No breathing, no background noise, just silence, as if someone was holding the phone up and listening, waiting. Then came the photos, one of my building, one of my street, one of my front door, all from different numbers. I went to the police, showed them everything I had. They were polite, but unconvinced. Could be someone you know playing a prank, the officer said, typing notes without looking at me. Could be unrelated. Without any threats or evidence of a crime, we can't really act. I gave them the name I had, Michael, and what little info was left in the Tinder messages before I deleted everything. But his profile was already gone, deleted or banned, or maybe it never really existed in the first place. Still, I tried to move on. I changed my number, deleted Tinder, got new locks, bought pepper spray. For a while, things were quiet, until last Friday. I came home late after a work happy hour. I remember distinctly locking the door that morning, the way I always do, twice, key turn, deadbolt click. But when I walked into my apartment that night, I felt it instantly. Something was wrong. Nothing was broken. No obvious sign of forced entry. But it felt wrong. My keys went on the hook, my coat over the chair. I walked into the kitchen and froze. The mug I always leave on the drying rack was gone. It was on the table, and it was clean. Cleaner than I'd left it. I turned, scanning the apartment. Everything looked mostly normal. Books on the shelf, blankets on the couch. But the more I looked, the more I noticed. A pair of earrings I hadn't worn in weeks were sitting neatly on my vanity instead of in the dish I kept them in. A pen from my nightstand was now sitting on the bathroom sink, and my bedroom door, which I always left ajar, was slightly more open than it should have been. I backed out of the apartment and called the police from the hallway. When they arrived, they searched everything, asked questions, took photos. They found no signs of entry, no fingerprints, no damage. "Are you sure these things weren't like this before you left?" one officer asked gently. I didn't have the energy to argue. They couldn't help. They couldn't prove anything. And without proof, there was no arrest, no investigation. Just a file, a note, a warning, maybe, if it ever escalated. That night, I slept with the lights on and a kitchen knife under my pillow. I haven't slept well since. Every creak of the floorboards makes me flinch. Every buzz of my phone tightens my throat. I check the windows twice an hour. I started wedging a chair under the front doorknob, even though I know it won't stop someone determined. Some days, I feel okay. Other days, I feel watched. Once, I swear I heard someone walking in the hallway at 3 a.m. Slow, deliberate steps that paused just outside my door. I didn't check. I couldn't. I bought a camera and installed it above my front door. The feed goes straight to my phone. I've watched the footage every morning, scanning for faces I don't recognize. So far, nothing. But that's almost worse, because it means he's either done or he's just gotten smarter. I don't know what to do anymore. The police won't help. My friends try, but they think I'm being paranoid. They don't say it, but I see it in their eyes when I talk about the rearranged items and silent voicemails. I don't blame them. I wouldn't believe me either, but I know what I felt that night at the cafe. I know the man I saw wasn't who he pretended to be, and I know that someone, somewhere, is still watching me. Still waiting. And worst of all, I don't think he's done yet. I'm not the kind of guy who usually uses dating apps. I've always preferred meeting people in person. At work, through friends, in the grocery store aisle debating brands of cereal. But after a long dry spell and a few too many lonely Friday nights, I gave in and downloaded Tinder. Her name was Mara. Long black hair, dark eyes that seemed to pierce through the screen, and a half smile that hinted at danger or mystery. I couldn't tell which. Her bio was simple: looking for something real. That was enough for me. We matched, chatted for a few days, and then she suggested meeting up. We decided on a bar downtown. She picked it, someplace I'd never heard of called the Hollow Oak. Sounded rustic, charming. I arrived 5 minutes early, just enough time to gather myself, maybe order a drink to ease the nerves. The bar was dimly lit with aged wood beams and flickering Edison bulbs. The kind of place that felt like it had secrets soaked into the walls. She walked in wearing a dark red coat, buttoned up to her neck, her hair pulled back tightly. She looked even better in person, more intense somehow. "You must be Ryan," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. Her voice was softer than I expected. Smoky. She didn't smile. I nodded, introduced myself. We talked about the usual things: jobs, favorite movies, weird childhood fears. Hers was mannequins. Mine was being buried alive. She laughed at that, but not in a mocking way, more like she found it charming. An hour in, she excused herself to go to the bathroom. I watched her weave through the crowd and disappear behind a curtain near the back. I waited and waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20. I started to feel awkward, like maybe I'd said something wrong. Finally, I stood and went to look for her. The bathroom hallway was empty. I knocked. No answer. I asked the waitress if she'd seen the woman I was with. "Sorry," she said. "I didn't see anyone go in recently." I returned to the booth. Her drink was gone. Gone. I opened the Tinder app to message her. Her profile was gone too. No messages. No match. Nothing. As if she never existed. At first, I thought maybe I'd been ghosted in the most elaborate way imaginable. But that didn't make sense. People don't delete their entire profile just to ditch a first date. Something was wrong. Really wrong. I left the bar, constantly checking over my shoulder. The streets were empty, except for a few late-night stragglers. I tried to call the number she gave me earlier. Disconnected. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she was a scammer, or married, or had second thoughts. Whatever. I needed to move on. But I couldn't. Not after what happened next. 3 nights later, I got a text from an unknown number. Nice to see you again. I stared at the screen. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, another message. You looked lost after I left. Did you miss me? I texted back, who is this? Nothing. Then my phone buzzed with a photo. It was of me, sitting at the booth, alone, looking confused. It was taken from behind the bar, or somewhere nearby. I felt my stomach turn. I called the number. It rang once, then cut off. I went to the police the next morning, showed them the texts, the picture. I even told them about the date and the disappearing Tinder profile. They said they'd look into it. But the officer, some guy named Harlan, didn't seem all that concerned. Probably just someone messing with you, he said. Could be a catfish or some ex playing games. I wanted to believe that. But it felt worse than that. I started seeing shadows moving outside my apartment at night, heard footsteps in the hallway that stopped right outside my door. My mail started arriving already opened. One evening, I noticed a car parked across the street. Same car, every night for a week. Black SUV, tinted windows, no plates. I started sleeping with a baseball bat next to my bed. The following Saturday, I decided to confront whoever was in that car. I waited until after dark, heart pounding in my throat. The SUV rolled up around 8:45 p.m., just like clockwork. I walked across the street, phone recording in hand. I knocked on the window. No response. I knocked again, harder. Then the window slowly rolled down. A man sat inside, late 30s, maybe 40s, clean-shaven, wearing a hoodie and gloves despite the summer heat. His eyes didn't blink, just stared. "Why have you been watching me?" I asked. He smiled. "Are you Ryan?" "Yes." He reached into his coat. I stumbled back, thinking he was going for a weapon. But he pulled out a photo of Mara and me, sitting in the booth. "How do you?" He held up a finger. "They'll come for you tonight." "Who? Who are you talking about?" "They always do. It's how she works. She chooses, then she sends them." "What the hell are you talking about?" "She's not what you think. She's not a person." He drove off before I could say another word. I didn't sleep that night either. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of glass breaking. I reached for the bat, heart slamming against my ribs. I crept into the living room. The sliding glass door to my balcony was shattered. A man was already halfway through the opening, tall, bald, wearing a mask with no features. I swung the bat, hit him in the shoulder. He grunted, stumbled back, but didn't fall. Another figure climbed up behind him, a woman this time, dressed all in black. I ran back to my bedroom and locked the door. Called the cops. I could hear them moving through my apartment, dragging something metal across the floor. Then, silence. The cops arrived 5 minutes later. They found the door broken, glass everywhere, but no intruders. Nothing was stolen. I told them about the man in the SUV, gave them his description. They said they'd look into it. But the next day, Officer Harlan showed up at my door again. This time, his expression was different. Serious. Tight. "Do you have a minute?" he asked. I let him in. He sat me down and showed me a photo. "Is this the woman you went on the date with?" It was Mara. Same hair, same face. But she looked younger. "Yeah," I said. "That's her. Who is she?" "She was reported missing in 2019. Name's not Mara. It's Natalie Conroy. Disappeared on her way home from a Tinder date." My blood ran cold. "What? There's more," he said. "Her body was found 6 months later in the woods. Bad shape, but definitely dead." I couldn't breathe. I felt like my body was sinking into the floor. "That's not possible," I said. "I talked to her. I touched her hand. She was real." We've had a couple of reports like this, men meeting women who match Natalie's description. Always from Tinder. The profile always vanishes afterward. Same bar, same booth. The hollow oak, I sat in stunned silence. "She's using it as a lure," Harlan said quietly. "We think someone, or something, is using her identity to pick victims." "You mean like a group?" "We don't know, but we found something you should see." He showed me a still frame from a surveillance camera. It was from the alley behind the hollow oak. In it, I was walking behind Mara, but her face was blurred, not pixelated, blurred, like motion blur that didn't belong, like the camera couldn't process her. "You should leave town," Harlan said. "Just for a while, lay low." I asked him why. "We don't know how they pick people," he said, "but everyone who gets that second message disappears within a week." I left the next morning, checked into a cheap motel 2 towns over, disconnected my number, deleted Tinder, stopped using my real name, but I can still feel them. watching. Sometimes I hear tapping on the motel window at night. Sometimes I hear that smoky voice in my dreams. And sometimes I see her face in the mirror behind mine. Just for a second. Smiling. Half smiling. They say you can't run from death, but they're wrong. Because death? She's already on Tinder.